Hello, this is Andrew McCammon, this is Brendan Cox, I'm Jackson Bauer. We are in the Dover High School biology program. What we did for our biology project was we picked an area, which is Fisher Street, Rutland Street, and Locust Street, kind of a boxing area, and we surveyed the houses in that area to see if they were informed on the benefits of green space, if they actually knew what green space was, and if they used fertilizer. And the reason why we did that is because in this section between Rutland, Fisher, and Locust, there's this big green space in the middle. And Brendan will talk more about the benefits of putting that underneath conservation.
So the big green space in the middle of this area, whenever it rains in this area, it all runs off straight into the Bellamy River. So there's that huge green space which presents a lot of opportunity, because if it can be conserved, then that's a lot of water that gets into the soil, and therefore there's less runoff, so the water stays cleaner. And it also presents the benefits of cleaner air, like less soil erosion and all that.
Yeah.
Because you have the huge area of green space in the middle of the neighborhood, so all of the people up in the neighborhood, like around our area, end up benefiting because they don't have to pay as much for taxes for water, and they just have overall like clean land near them. We expanded our study area to get more valid data.
Through this, we were able to get a lot more people. We got close to 11 people.
12 people.
We got 12 people that we surveyed that weren't there before, and this allowed us to create more accurate graphs for the area that we were surveying.
So the stakeholders in this project were actually the people who took our survey, but at their discretion, I can't say who they were because they want to be kept anonymous. The data collected from this survey was that 30.8% of people do not know what green space is, 38.5% of people do not know what the benefits of green space is, and 7.7% of people use fertilizer, and 57% of property is believed to be green space as well, based on the survey.
The overall purpose of our project was to educate the third of the population that don't know the benefits of green space. Thankfully, only about 8% of the population in this area use fertilizer. That's good, because the things in fertilizer such as nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus that are supposed to help the soil, they help the plants grow and grass grow or whatever you might be planting it for. They help that grow, but they run off into the water and it pollutes the water a massive amount. After conducting our survey, we found that an average of 57% of each stakeholder's property was green space. This is good because it presents an area of green space that isn't massive, but it's still there enough that it cleans out the air, results in less pollutants in the water, and you get all the benefits from green space no matter how small it is. Jackson is going to explain what we did for our outreach.
So our outreach was highly informational, and what we really did was we gave these brochures to the people we surveyed. And what it does, what it says, is it shows the benefits of green space, it shows the data that we collected on the green space, and it shows some solutions to the issue that we're having. And the issue that we're really having is that the population of Dover is growing at an exponential rate right now. And, the city is expanding, and through that becomes more pollution. But with more pollution and less green space, it can cause a real issue in the rivers. And that's our problem. So the solution is to reclaim land and set aside more conservation land so this runoff doesn't keep on going right into the rivers. And we just informed the people that we surveyed about that.
The overall benefits of green space include cleaner water, cleaner oxygen or air, reduced soil erosion, rainfall retention, and cooler temperatures. Building off of what Jackson mentioned earlier about solutions for our problem, like reclaiming land and conserving land, more specifically for the area we researched around Rutland, Locust, and Fisher Street. So Dover could look into reclaiming land that a storage company was attempting to build storage units at, but they never ended up doing it. So Dover could look into reclaiming that land and conserving it to help our community have more green space and make sure that this problem doesn't get any worse. And then in addition, Dover could look into reclaiming some of the land from the Restoration Church parking lot, as it's a very big impervious surface that is causing a lot of problems because it makes runoff erode the soil even more. As the Great Bay community as a whole, people can look to organizations such as SELT, Southeast Land Trust, to pay to have their land conserved so that people or contractors can't buy up the land and end up building on top of it and reducing our green space in the Great Bay community.
If we were to continue further with this project, we would continue our survey further into the downtown area, considering that there's a large lack of green space. And we would also contact companies such as SELT to help us reach out to the City of Dover, the community, and the Great Bay community as a whole, and raise awareness for what green space is, so that hopefully we could get more conservation in there.
Overall, this project taught us that if Dover doesn't cut back on the construction and decreasing the amount of green space in our community, and Great Bay as a whole actually, that taxes are going to rise because of the pollution in the water, and citizens are probably not going to be too happy about that. So Dover should really look into conserving space and cutting back on construction so that the pollution in the water isn't so bad so that they have to pay for more treatment on the water.
We also learned the overall benefits of green space and how closely they relate and affect our community. We learned that having green space boosts the water quality and the air quality, and when there's a lack of green space, it creates massive pollution in the waters. If the City of Dover keeps building at the rate that it has built and its population keeps increasing, creating a need for this building, then the water quality will decrease exponentially, and that will be a huge problem that will result in much higher taxes for the citizens.
Reaching out to the citizens of Dover has really helped us kind of wrap our head around these real world problems, and it's been great to take a stab at tackling that, and it's really helped us with our communication skills, with going door to door and surveying people. It's also helped us with our developmental and critical thinking.